What's one thing that the current Attorney General, Mike Cox, what's one thing that he's done that you absolutely applaud, or maybe one thing that you would have done differently?
Well, I'll give you an example. Mike Cox, when the governor decided that she was going to stand in the way of clean coal, of energy plants here in Michigan, and she tread all over the Michigan Constitution to get to that executive decision, Mike Cox stepped up and said no way. He stood up on behalf of the people, the citizens, the ratepayers out there. He stood up on behalf of my family, who would like to see affordable, sustainable, reliable energy in our state of Michigan. And he stood up for the Constitution. And I applaud him for that. And I told him that as well. I really think that he not only did it, but he did it instantaneously as soon as she made that announcement. And by the way, if I might, LS Power, who was a local power provider here in Michigan, used that as one of the governor's announcement to stop the Clean Fire plant. They used that as an example for the reason why they're leaving the state. They left the state this week because Michigan is no longer a friendly state for them to do business. And I think that's sad. We can't have that kind of activity here in Michigan.
Now, when Mike Cox came into office, he identified a problem, much as you identified a few problems, and the one that he tackled right away was the failure to pay child support.
Right.
And he started this unique initiative to tackle that issue, to garner all of those wages and to capture all that child support money. Put a fingerprint on the office going after those deadbeat dads. Do you have any sense yet of any sort of program or way of tackling any of these issues that you've discussed, which might be, we might look back 8 years from now and say that's Mike Bishop's signature issue, that's his fingerprint program?
Well, I would hope that we've talked about identity theft, we've talked about protecting children. I would hope that I could look back on my career as Attorney General and say that I eradicated or significantly reduced the exposure to citizens with regard to dangerous predatory activity on the internet, that we were able to reduce the amount of identity theft in our state, and that we, along the way, stood up for consumers and made a point to stand up for those less vulnerable in our society. And I, in my experience in the legislature, this area of identity theft, especially with children, is one that we really have to watch. And the predatory nature of the internet, I know from experience, I have young children myself, that you turn on that internet, you never know what's going to come to your desktop anymore. And if we don't figure that out, and if we don't come up with unique ideas that, like we did earlier on the Child Protection Registry, and we don't get in front of these criminals now, they will beat us at this, and we will lose in the end, and at the expense of our children and future generations.
Now you're facing a primary. The Democrats aren't. They've already all but selected their nominee. Gretchen Whitmer, your colleague in the Senate. The woman's wasting no time. She's coordinating with the left side of the blogosphere. She's making campaign speeches on the Senate floor, in my opinion. Maybe this is just my read, but she seems angry. she just seems angry, and not at a specific person or issue, but just in general. And she tends to take that out on you. Are you surprised at how really shrill she's become over the last year? And maybe that's something I can say that you can't, since you still have to work with the women. But what's your take on your likely Democratic opponent if you win the nomination?
Can I adopt your statement as mine?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a student of government. I grew up in a family who taught me what it means to be involved in elected government, and I really honor the integrity of the system. And I've been very disappointed by Gretchen Whitmer's behavior in the legislature. She came to the Senate 2 years ago as part of a special election, and she has made her presence known. And it disappoints me to see her every day stand up and make political speeches, as you say, on the floor of the Senate. The Senate is not a place for that. We've always tried to establish ourselves as a different kind of venue. We've been much more collegial than the House has been, even in as far as history is concerned. And she really has changed history. It disappoints me to see it every day. It really, as I said, as a historian, as a person that respects the integrity of the system, it just disappoints me to see such a lack of respect for the integrity of the system. And it's unfortunate because I have to come into the Senate every day and consider amending the Senate rules just to deal with her nonsense. We are in the midst of one of the most challenging times in our state's history. We're trying to balance a $2.1 billion budget shortfall. And instead of addressing that, she gets up on the floor and makes a political speech as though she doesn't even care about the issue at hand. And that's a shame to me. But I don't know if I blame her more or the people that let her do it in the process, because we shouldn't put up with that. None of us should. Her constituents shouldn't put up with that. The rest of the state shouldn't put up with it. So having said that, I think it's all going to catch up with her soon.
Yeah, it should make for a lively general election.
Yes.
Come that time. Thanks again for your time. Is there anything else before we let you go that you'd like to cover?
I would just thank the grassroots, all the people that have supported me thus far, all the people that I've worked with over time. This is a real challenge. I look forward to talking to those in the state committee and those delegates as a part of this process. And if anybody has any questions or concerns, I hope they contact me directly.
Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.